Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for clicking on this. And today we're going to be talking about my nutritional approaches on what I'm changing with my diet. This is a big one for me because I am such a junkie when it comes to food. I love chocolate. Growing up, my grandparents on my mom's side were from Scotland, and they'd always come visit, and my grandmother would always bring me lots of chocolate. They actually lived with us for 10 years, and anytime she went to the store, she always bought me chocolates. And she constantly was sneaking me chocolates. So I absolutely love chocolate. And there's a deep connection, with your grandparents, and there's that kind of internal connection, and the fact that chocolate is just awesome. It's a hard thing to really give up. And even with my nutrition plan I'm changing to, I'm not giving it up completely. I still have to have that in my, daily life. Well, not daily life, but it's got to be something that I'm able to consume and intake. But I have just got to get to a point where I limit that. So step one with my diet really is limiting the junk intake. The chocolates, the sweets, all that stuff. I'm so bad about eating that. My daily routine kind of prior was I didn't really eat breakfast. I'm not a big breakfast eater. My stomach really doesn't like to take food in very early. So anytime we go out to eat breakfast or have carry-ins at work or stuff, I love breakfast food, but my stomach's just like, I'm not ready for it yet. Wait till lunch. And that's probably not something I'm going to change a whole lot of. Maybe a little bit, but we'll get into that here later. But the first part of my dietary change, like I said, is cutting out the crap. So that's step one. Step two is then kind of changing what I'm eating. Now, our diet has never really been bad. We're not big on eating out. We don't go out to eat very often. If we travel or go to visit, say, my parents up by Chicago, we've got to drive, so we'll have to stop at somewhere to eat. Or at my parents, we might go out to eat, that kind of stuff. Or we like to go to Disney, so when we make Disney trips, you got to eat out. That's just the nature of the beast. So I have to find ways to kind of navigate those trips and make sure I'm still eating a good food, but just limit what I'm eating. Of course, at Disney, their food is amazing, but you're also walking 1,000 miles a day. And I think the Jim Gaffigan joke was that Disney's the only place where you can walk 20 miles in a day and still gain weight, because the food's so good there and you eat so much that it still negates all the activity you're doing walking around their parks. But yeah, our diet is not been bad. I mean, I'm very much a meats and potatoes kind of guy. I'm not a big fish eater, never was. And I always like to go back for seconds if seconds are available. So things that we're changing, I'm trying to add a lot more protein into my diet. As my goals mentioned in the workout podcast was, I'm trying to add some muscle mass to my body. So I know I'm getting older, so that's getting harder to do, but I still, in order to gain muscle mass, I've got to increase my protein intake. So that's step number one with what I need to change. I need to eat more protein. And also, like I mentioned, I'm not a fish eater, never have been. Fish just initiates a strong gag reflex that I just cannot swallow it. And I don't know why. It's always been that way. As a little kid, I remember we went fishing and caught a catfish, and my dad, fried it up and we ate it, and I spit it out and thought it was disgusting. And ever since, it's like, no, fish, I just can't take it. The downside is some fish is high in protein and high in omega-3s, which are healthy and good for you. Well, maybe not when you fry the fish like crazy, but still, those omega-3s and high protein is good for you, and I don't get access to that. So really, one thing I have added into my daily routine is a multivitamin. I got an omega-3 multivitamin that I take every morning. So that's kind of how I'm trying to supplement that. I know it's not the best. I know it's usually best to get those things organically through your food from fish, but I'm not going to be eating fish. Maybe at some time I might be convinced to try some. I've tried fish, but I may be convinced to try fish in the future too, but don't look forward to that. I've tried fish. Everyone's like, "Oh, you haven't eaten fish the right way. Let me cook it for you the right way." And anytime they do it, sometimes like, okay, it's not bad, but I still can't eat it. It still gets the gag reflex. can't do it. Sorry. Your breading's great, but the fish is awful. And it doesn't make sense when there's like, oh, we need to hide the fishy taste. Well, that means fish taste awful. So why eat it? I know it's healthy. Some people love it. God bless you. For breakfast, like I mentioned, I don't eat a whole lot of breakfast. But what I'm adding in is a little bit of yogurt in the morning with some granola. And I had bought it's like 23 grams of protein per serving yogurt. I think it's Oikos, if I'm saying that correctly. Sponsorship? No, just kidding. But they have the 000, like no sugar added, no fat or something. I don't know. It's got a lot of protein. It's probably the best yogurt I've seen to date. But I'm always looking for recommendations. So drop those in the YouTube comments if you can. If you got any yogurt recommendations, it's like a Greek yogurt. It's really thick. On its own, it's kind of like, whoa. Texture-wise, it's very awkward. But we have found, actually my wife found this, but I agree with her. If you add some granola to it, like it adds a texture and a flavor to it, that's really good. So I do a serving of yogurt. It's got 23 grams of protein in it. And then a serving of I got some almond granola that has like 5 grams of protein in a serving. And I think the total calories for that is like between the yogurt and the granola is like 300. So 300 calories plus, I think it's like 28 grams of protein. Pretty dang good. And it's very filling. And it makes me not want to eat really anything until lunchtime or beyond because I'm pretty full from that. It's quite impressive. Lunch-wise, with my work, I do home health therapy, so I'm driving around all the time. I don't always have time to eat lunch, and I know we're supposed to stop and eat lunch, but usually when I get going on my day, like I don't really want to stop. I just keep going. So there are a lot of times I don't eat lunch at all, or I might snack. So snack-wise, what I've kind of come up with is like a protein. I've ended up mixing with coffee. It's like a protein coffee. So it's basically just a cold brew coffee plus a protein powder that has the powder I'm going to has 30 grams in a serving. So that way gives my addiction to coffee served, plus put some protein in with the supplemental protein powder, which protein powders are good. That's a good supplement to add if you're trying to increase your protein intake. So I would recommend that. I'm still I'm using a 30 gram protein shake or powder right now. Get my words figured out. But again, always looking for recommendations. So in comments, if you say, hey, I use this protein powder and it is great and it's awesome and it's cheap, throw it down there for me because I'm always looking for new ones. Anytime I go to the store, I like to kind of peruse the protein powder to see what they got. But right now, I'm using a 30. I just buy it at Walmart, 30 gram per serving. So that's nice. I mean, that's lunch snacks. Otherwise, I have some deer sticks my father-in-law got me that are really good, that are pretty low calorie and decent protein. I also experimented with making some roasted lentils because lentils are a pretty high fiber, high protein snack that you can eat. And I roasted them. Turned out I did it wrong at first. I roasted them without cooking them first, and I would not recommend that because that's like chewing on gravel. So then I decided to cook it and then roast it. Way better. Just a crunchy little, nice tasty snack. Pretty dang filling, but there's not much to them. So I just made a tray of those, and every so often if I'm feeling like I need to eat something, I might pull a handful of those and chew on them, and my craving is satisfied for a while. Dinner-wise, we kind of have a set routine of just different dinners. What I'm trying to do more of is grilling chicken. One of our staple meals at our house is what we call crazy wraps, which from a restaurant or place called Crazy Bowls and Wraps. We got like this Caesar chicken bowl, which is grilled chicken, Caesar salad, and rice. It's like, well, I can make that. So we make some grilled chicken, buy a Caesar salad at Walmart, cook some rice, and voila, you've got a grilled chicken Caesar. Well, we don't put it in a wrap though. We just put it in a bowl. So you eliminate the tortilla, which is a lot of carbs. So you eliminate that. You just have the protein from the chicken, which is low calorie. Caesar salad, which is also low calorie. I mean, the Caesar salad has its own fats in it, but that's what adds the flavor. And I just kind of do about one serving of rice at the bottom of the bowl. that's one of those where I've had to limit the portion size, because before when we'd make that, I would eat the heck out of it. I would eat so much rice, so I would just a ton of it. One of the additions I add to it too is chorizo, Mexican sausage. Adds a little spice to it, also more protein and some fat. Just adds flavor to it. So I've had to really cut the portion size of that to make sure I get the portion size where it needs to be, so it's healthier. But that's one of our main staple meals. We do other things like pizzas and things like that. Those are just kind of meals when we're really busy and there's a lot going on. We don't have time to really grill or cook. It's like, all right, throw a pizza in the oven because that's all we got time for. So with that, I mean, I just have to limit my slices and know that maybe I might need to eat like some more lentil snack or have another protein or something, or a deer stick just to kind of supplement if I need to. We do, I'm trying to think meal-wise what else we eat. I know I tried to make, it doesn't have a name, but I just tried to make something else with lentils. I put some onions, garlic powder, what else did I put in there? Ginger, cayenne, with lentils and water. Basically was it. A very low calorie, decent protein, high fiber kind of a meal. It tasted like the Mexican restaurant refried beans that they always add with your meals. It tasted almost identical to that to me, which was funny. I thought, well, hey, I can make this if I make tacos. That's another thing. We make tacos, so I'm going to switch maybe from beef to go to grilled chicken tacos when we do those. So I mentioned in the workout one, so I got an Excel spreadsheet. So how I have my nutrition one kind of laid out, and I'll probably share this on YouTube, give you more incentive to go to youtube.com/PTGamerGuy. Hey everybody, what's happening? Tom, the PT editor guy, back again. Just to remind you that youtube.com/PTGamerGuy does not take you to my YouTube site. I've actually got it now to where it is youtube.com/@Tom, the PT Gamer Guy. So check that out. Again, or if you can go to YouTube and just in the search bar, put PT Gamer Guy, all one word, that should get you there too. Thank you. To check out the podcast there, because this will have a little bit more info. But I kind of have a tracker, a daily tracker of what I'm eating and how many calories. And then I got the macros tracked. The macros tracked. That's hard to say together. The macros tracked, which is protein, fat, carbs. So I got calories, protein, fat, carbs. So every meal I've made, I've gone through and calculated how many calories, protein, fat, carbs are in each serving. And then I list it on the spreadsheet. So anytime I cook a new meal, I've got to go in and kind of calculate that out and put it on my spreadsheet. Once it's on the spreadsheet, it's there forever. I don't have to go back and refigure that crap out. So then I have a daily tracker. So I just have my breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, and I list out what I've eaten. And then I've got it all set up on the spreadsheet to where it automatically will calculate based on the numbers I've put in above what my daily totals are. And then I got a weekly tracker that tracks weekly where I'm at. And then I've added in where I have an exercise tracker of how many calories I've burned in my workouts, what that looks like too. So then it gives, all that does, you don't have to go crazy with tracking this. I am for right now, but what I'm doing is trying to really get a feel for what am I putting in my body and what am I outputting? You know, how many am I putting in versus how many am I burning out? And what does that look like? And what can I modify or change? So I want to monitor that for a little bit and then look at those numbers and say, oh yeah, I'm eating more than I thought, or I need to be eating a little bit more. I'm really low on my calories for some reason. That's rarely going to be the issue probably. Or maybe I need to maybe increase my workouts, or maybe I need to add more cardio into my workout to increase some calorie burnings. I mean, when I work out, I'm burning 350 to 400 calories in a strength training program, which is good. It's burning calories. It's good to help lose weight. But then also maybe I need to supplement that. Maybe I need to hop on the bike for 15 minutes at the end. Or maybe I need to sacrifice a sauna for a bike or go for a run or something afterwards. It's just trying to get me a feel for where I need to be to help me meet my goals. Once I get there and kind of feel like I've got a handle on what I'm putting in versus what I'm outputting, the spreadsheet might become less of a need. But for right now, it helps really keep me focused on what I'm doing and really helps me adjust to so I can get to where I should say need, where I want to be. So that's kind of the purpose of the Excel spreadsheet and tracking all this. And that's something I think if you're doing this on your own, it's very optional. I'm very much a numbers guy, so I like to see the numbers. I like to, visibly to see those numbers and see what's changing. It really helps me internalize and be like, yes, this is making a difference. Yes, this is good, or no, you need to make a change. So that's just me knowing me and how I work with numbers. I'm always good with numbers, and I like to see the numbers, and it helps me to work them. So that's just beneficial for me. If you're not into that, don't tell me that, hey, it's not me saying, hey, if you want to get in better shape, you better track all this stuff. Sorry, the dog just randomly wanted to bark at nothing. But that's pretty much where it is with that. Like I said, don't feel like you have to track all this stuff. This is what I'm doing, and this is just me sharing my experience with it. So you'll be seeing the numbers along the way on the YouTube if you're following this podcast there. Otherwise, thanks for sticking around and hanging out this long. I will catch you on the next one. We'll be starting to kind of get into more specific workouts and maybe just weekly summaries from here. Otherwise, have a great rest of your day. Thank you.